Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. When I was in London in particular, I was very aware of what is broadly talked about in the UK media as a racial tension. And the thing that struck me in particular was only 2 or 3 generations ago, it was in fact my father's family coming to the UK, living in Leeds. There was exactly the same migration problem that the UK was having. What fascinated me through all this discussion and various permeation, and my wife reads a lot of the UK media, so we knew about this in advance before we went to the UK, was actually how tiny the net migration has been in the UK. You get an artificial sense in London in particular that there's just a lot of new people, in particular folks from Poland and, these kind of areas in Eastern Europe that seem to be coming to the UK and making it home. And when you actually look at the real numbers, you realize that these are this tiny, tiny fraction of people that are actually coming across and really fit into a broad history of migration to the UK, which has existed, certainly from my discussion at least, for at least 3 generations, and probably more realistically at least 6 generations. As the son of effectively a migrant, he was the 2nd generation born in the UK, I do realise that I'm in no position to cast any aspersions associated with any kind of migration. Truth be told, most of the fun, friendly interactions that I had in the City of London were with Muslim families that had young children and these kind of folk. There are a few Polish people that were generally, I don't know what one would call it, dismissive of the UK, but honestly, I've been there. I've been dismissive of London historically. Might be a future Short Funk recording. And as someone who's been a constant transitory migrant, there's no way that I can say anything bad about migration. I will note, however, that we do have a fondness for Wilmslow, and we do have a fondness for Wilmslow through the lack of change. So in some regard, there's a paradox there. I think the UK will always have issues associated with migration. I don't think things change dramatically. The migrants typically pick up some aspect of the UK and make it their own. And through generations, this kind of thing writes itself. So you end up with wonderful Indian food, a wide variety of Italian and Greek food that's all, generational and brought to various areas. And the wonder that is the fact that the Chinese takeaway, the Chinese restaurant, is so omnipresent in the UK as to make it, haven't the Chinese always lived in the UK? Just seems like that. So, coming to the UK, particularly from mass saturation of negative media, I just thought to myself, this is what the UK does. It absorbs migrants, it forces them into some form within the UK, and it just keeps on rinsing and repeating in this fashion. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.